Welcome to the Living Elan Podcast, where we help you reclaim your confidence and energy through taking control of your wellness. I'm Paige Hope.
And I'm Tracey Vlahos. Join us for quick chats on wellness, personal growth, hormone regulation, and more. Well, welcome back to another episode here with Elan Pure. And I am really excited once again to be able to bring the third in a series. So in case you're just listening to the very first time, this third one in the series is all around breast cancer prevention, education, and I like to say action. Paige, there is so much awareness around breast cancer, and I spent a lot of years traveling the globe, doing big events, speaking about awareness, and we need awareness. We need awareness of different things, but what I realized was missing is that people didn't have enough education to be able to take action. I'm like, wait a second, this is about action. So we wanted to create this series so that you could take action and not be overwhelmed. That's the thing. That you could go back to this. So today we're going to talk about environmental toxins. And do you mind, Paige, if I just share a statistic again?
Oh, we love the stats, everybody.
I mean, if you're listening for the third time, you're going to hear it again. You may get sick of me saying it, but it is what changed for me to be able to start educating and preventing about prevention and action. And that the biggest thing for me when I learned that 86% of all breast cancer is caused by environmental toxins and not genetics and things, I think, whoa. What are environmental toxins? Is this something that I can help? And that's when I went down the rabbit hole and thought, oh, wait a second. We need to be speaking about this more. Now, also, Paige, I always want to preface to say, I'm not a doctor. There are no guarantees. There are none. But if that statistic, which is correct, is out there, then I am going to take the steps to be able to do it to help protect myself by 86%.
And how great is it, by the way, everybody, that we can take action and we have access to so much education and resources. Now, here's what I will say as well. During this Breast Cancer Awareness Month, you're probably seeing a lot of stuff out there. And one of the main reasons that I originally launched Elan Pure is because there's so much negative information out there. And unfortunately, there's incorrect information out there. And it wasn't until I had my own aha moment. I talk about aha moments a lot where not everyone is going to want to go less toxic. You know, not everyone cares in that moment. And that's fine. We're not here to tell you need to start caring today. However, I want to say that it's important to be an informed consumer. It's important to care about your body because why? At the end of the day, we are put on this earth to give life. We are here to have more energy and confidence so we can show up, do the things that we love, like building incredible companies, building incredible relationships, connections, all of that. And so for me, this is so key. And I'm so excited to go into beauty specifically, you guys, because launching Elan Pure, there's so much more to come. And because I went through all of the years of educating myself on ingredients, why we don't ban things here in the US, and what ingredients actually do cause hormone disruption, even cancer, because there's that research out there. And that's what's so beautiful about the time that we live in. There's so much at our fingertips. And for me, I always like to look on the optimistic side of how cool is it that we have access to this. Yes. Now, this also means that there might be new things that come out. There might be other things where we have to be flexible, and we're prepared to do that as a brand, to pivot, to make those changes. So I'm excited to dive in, Tracey, number one. Beauty is also, you know, we love the beauty, right? When I was going through my hormone journey, I just was telling Tracey this. I did my food and beauty kind of simultaneously, but because I've always loved beauty, I was like, I'm going to learn what these little toxins are. Yes. What are these little guys that are disrupting my hormones and making me feel all weird? Like what is going on here, right? What is toxic overload?
Yes.
So starting there, Tracey.
Yes.
I want to just kick it off with a question.
Okay.
You already answered what external toxins are in the previous episode. Now I want to get into a little bit of toxic overload. When we hear in the beauty industry, especially if you're talking and seeing people that are in this wellnessy beauty space, you're going to hear this a lot. What does that even mean?
Toxic overload. Like, the best way that I believe I can explain this is just this morning, I was looking at a statistic because we're putting some educational pieces out. All right. And I'm gonna say a roundabout number here. And it talked about women and the products we put on our body, from shampoos and conditioner, all kinds of things. And it said from all the chemicals in each one. Boop, 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 boop. So imagine you wrote the list of maybe 18 different products, right, all day long, and you wrote down all the chemicals. I believe it was like around 512 or 520 chemicals that we put on our body.
Oh, mine was probably more than that.
Well, some of us are more, and I've seen the bathroom and shower page. So I'm going to say it probably was even more.
Oh,
so they were saying average. So for me to explain toxic overload, I can't even believe I was just looking at this morning. I think this can match. So imagine you're putting this product, imagining it's getting absorbed into your body. Your body, and especially your liver and so forth, is there to function to filter out different things out of your body, right? To protect yourself. But all of a sudden, when it is constantly bombarded all the time, it becomes overloaded. And this toxic overload starts happening in your body. So imagine I'm such a visual person, like there's even like a jar or something, right? And it is just filling up. And there's this little pee hole in the bottom, and it just can't even drain out fast, like your body. And all of a sudden, it starts mimicking hormones and estrogen. And now all of a sudden, it is disrupting your hormones from your adrenal to your cortisol, causing autoimmune disease. Why do we live somewhere where we have the most disease ever before? Like, there's so much that we could go on with this. Mm-hmm. So our body is in this toxic overload because of chemicals that we're putting on our body. And you alluded to it, that here in the US, unfortunately, we have about 11, again, these things change all the time, about 11 ingredients banned, where in other countries, please Google this yourself, all these other like ingredients and chemicals, they're banned because there's actually science behind it. Oh, it's hormone disruption. Oh, that's tied to cancer. Oh, that's tied to even infertility. Like, there's so much because of the toxic overload of what we're consuming. I hope I understood that enough.
Yes. And one thing that we're going to be sharing as well, because there's so many symptoms, but I want you guys to take inventory right now of how you're feeling. And this is what I did when I was going through my journey. Okay, how am I feeling? I'm not feeling super optimal, right? This is back then. My hair is thin. I'm like, I have this little bald spot. I'm like, what the heck? I go to this hair clinic. They're doing all these things with this red light and massage scalps and all of this stuff. Not thinking it can be hormones at this moment, right? I'm just trying to, get my hair back to what it was.
Yeah.
So as I'm doing this, I literally stopped going to this place cold turkey. Like, I called them and I'm like, hey, I'm done with this. And they're like, you signed a year-long contract. And I'm like, but I don't need you in this moment. I just realized that my body is in toxic overload. And you know me, I'm trying to explain this to these, front desk receptionist lady. I'm like, hey, I am sorry. Like, I'm going this different route. And what's funny is when I had this aha moment, I'm like, holy cow, I can just start swapping out some of this stuff and get my estrogen levels balanced, because you have to have the estrogen and progesterone balanced. And again, getting tested is absolutely huge and very, very crucial. So I'm going through all of that, right? We're swapping out. And now I want to go into how to swap some of these products out, which ones to start with, ingredients to avoid. Because let's just be real, okay? I'm going to come out on a whim and say everyone probably has some sort of toxic overload. It's just how we live today.
Yep.
You're walking into stores, there's, cologne sprayed everywhere. There's Febreze outlets, they're plugged in. You're dealing with everything, and then not to mention all the chemicals on your body, not to mention the food. So with everything, you're in overload.
Correct.
So when Tracey says, hey, phase 1, scooch 1, we are going to crowd out some of this beauty stuff. So we're going to go into this, Tracey.
I love this.
Number 1, we're starting with full body, everybody.
Okay.
So taking inventory. You're looking at all the products on your counter.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, looks like my lotion is almost out. Okay, you're starting with that. It's on your full body. You're taking inventory. Holy crap, I'm putting 50 plus products on, whatever that looks like. You're going to each week or each month or whenever you run out, you're swapping those out. But that's why you got to take inventory. I literally had a note and I'm like, okay, body lotion, body wash, laundry detergent, dish soap. Like I'm going through and I started with beauty.
Yes.
And so if you literally have these notes in your phone and it's so easy to do by just simply taking a little bit of inventory.
Yes.
And swapping it out. So, and now you're like, okay, well, what do I swap it out to?
Yes.
Well, we're going to share that as well. Yeah. But we have 5 ingredients that we recommend starting with.
Yes.
And when you turn that bottle around, you're not going to be able to know what all these ingredients are. And Tracey and I were just joking about this. We're like, we don't even know how to pronounce that. And we study this like,
oh yeah,
truth. Like truth. We're like, what, how do you say that?
I know.
How, and so when you're looking at these ingredients, you're going to be like, all right, how do I look for this? So this is why we start with 5 because they're easy to actually point out. And this is what we both started with.
Yes.
So, Tracey, let's go over the 5 and talk us through that.
Yeah. So you were just asking because there are a lot of chemicals we just talked about, but we want to start with 5 that you can really just focus on to help you. So as you're upgrading, as I said, upgrade, scooching out, that you can look for these, that you are able to look for these different chemicals. And that way you can now purchase products that don't have them. So let's talk about the first one. The first one we're going to see a lot of is parabens.
And those
right?
are pretty easy to see.
You can see that. You're going to, right. It is, I want everybody to understand, like a paraben, it's a preservative. That's why a lot of people, our companies end up using it, right? Because it's going to preserve that product on a shelf for a long time.
Which I do want to note, in the beauty industry, these can make products last for years.
Years.
And so you want to, one, note that if something can last for years and years and years, there's, possible chance there's got a lot of stuff in it.
Oh, it is. The paraben, you imagine if you're having parabens at all in your food, in your cosmetics, in your beauty, your skincare, that's a lot of paraben that you're putting on your body. Well, it is out there. It ends up mimicking estrogen, causing estrogen dominance, which is also linked to breast cancer. And that is why, for my example, I have worked with products that were in the EU. You could not have parabens. They would not allow. There are a lot of different places for the fact that science is out there. Mm-hmm. So again, there's great products out there. We're going to link here back even to a blog that we have. So getting paraben free is really huge.
Okay, the next one.
Let's talk about synthetic dyes. Oh, synthetic dyes. From what we drink to put into our body, right? We all hear red dye number 40 and all these different things. And again, these are heavy metals. And so many people are toxic, we keep talking about, very toxic because our body, I always say our liver is supposed to have the ability to, cipher these things out, but because we're overloading it, now we can't. And now we're in this heavy metal state that is also causing toxic overload, inflammation, and causing all kinds of autoimmune disease, but also being linked back. It's the month of breast cancer awareness.
Yes.
So again, looking for this, saying, oh my gosh, what can I do to upgrade so that I'm not putting these dyes, which are heavy metals, in my body?
And I just want to point out here as well, dyes are hidden in a lot of places. So I'm going to assume here, a lot of people know, it's a food colorant, right? So when you're eating, I don't want to say when you're eating, I don't know if you're eating Doritos, but Doritos is a common one where people actually don't realize there's red 40 in it. Now I want to note here that some of these brands in the US have red 40, but the same exact product that's over in the EU, so Doritos in the EU is actually different than the Doritos here.
Correct.
And I could go into margins and why that is, but why they don't put it in their products over there. So I remember a friend talked to me and they said, I'm not going to put this company on blast, but I use this beauty product. They're clean. I saw it when I was traveling in Italy. And I said, well, from a company standpoint, they can actually have two different products essentially.
Oh, yeah.
And one that abides by the EU standards and one that abides by the US standards. And because the US doesn't have those high standards, they're going to be different. So that is just something to just be educated on. I had my, that's pretty intense. And so Red 40, I'm going to also say this, everybody.
Please do.
When you are putting on any sort of self-tanner, and if it is an instant tan,
yes,
that should be a very big indicator that you are putting very toxic chemicals on your skin. And it can read the claims like clean, non-toxic, vegan, natural, cruelty-free, and you're going to think that it's this amazing clean brand. I just want to encourage you guys to turn that bottle around. And I'm just going to share this really fast. So we had someone reach out to our customer support team and say, hey, I really wanted to try your product. I bought it, but I don't want to open the box yet because I still have my other self-tan and I just want to get through that. Can I ship it back to you guys? How does that work? And of course, I have an awesome customer support team, right?
Yes,
and she's like, hey, no problem. I want to hear a little bit more about what product you're using. I would love to hear, because she had mentioned that it's a clean brand. She reached out to the company. She made sure it was clean because this is very important to her. She has hormonal imbalance. That's what made her purchase our product to begin with. Well, she tells us the brand she's using. And again, we do not believe I'm putting anyone on blast. Tracey, you already know who it is though. And so what we did is I told Alexandra, I said, let's send her just a screenshot. Let's educate. We're going to still take the product back. We want to be thoughtful of everyone's money, all of that.
Yeah.
We send the screenshot and we're just slowly educating. Like, hey, a brand can actually genuinely think they're clean because they're abiding by US standards. Correct. And that's why we also don't like to put brands on blast, because we're not here to hate on anyone. We had to go through the hard work of learning this ourselves. And I would love to host some sort of convention for all these beauty brands that want to do good, I'm sure, but just don't know. They're just slapping the labels on because, one, they can, nothing's regulated. And she was just so grateful. And she's like, all right. And we worked through a little thing with her where once she's done with that, we're going to make sure the tan gets sent back to her, and it's going to be all upgraded. And it's those small things where the education is so important. On ingredients. So that was Red 40. Now let's go back, Tracey, to number 3. What is the third ingredient to swap out?
Okay, everyone. On a personal note, this was probably the one I had to work with the most, and it's fragrance. Fragrance perfume. I want to do a little bit of education, and also, Paige, I want you to help me with this because I know this was so important to you, okay? Is obviously we're women, we love smelling beautiful. Let's be honest. But think about it. All of a sudden we have fragrance and perfume. That word, and again, I always encourage everybody to look it up. There are carcinogens, 3,000 different ones underneath fragrance and perfume. Okay?
Lots of chemicals in there, guys.
Yeah. I was looking this statistic up this morning because these things just change so much. And because of that, you're putting constantly, think about it. Our laundry detergent, fragrance. The fabric softener, fragrance. Self-tanner, fragrance in it. The perfumes, everything. Our candles, all of a sudden, all of this. Talk about toxic overload. So I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Because I love a body lotion. I had to switch out, even my laundry detergent, all these things. But fragrance is huge, but I'm telling you, there's so many amazing products out there.
Yeah, because you can still, I think people assume they can't ever use perfume again.
Yeah, so there are clean ones out there.
Which are scented with essential oils.
Pure essential oils. We're going to talk about, yes. So the beautiful part is we're here to share with you. And again, there will be a blog post. Oh my gosh, there's products.
Well, and we're testing right now. This perfume we're testing right now, Tracey brought a sample pack to us. Henry Rose is one of the ones we're sampling. And so we're here to also test and see what we like. And so we can give you guys that information as well. But another thing here too is when you go into self-tanners, Tracey just had mentioned that goes on your skin. So one thing that we do at Elan Pure, because we do not believe in having toxic chemicals in our beauty routines. No, we're getting rid of them. So we do not have fragrance. We actually have organic vanilla and natural vanilla. So what's so beautiful about this is people can still smell very good with their self-tan. And because we also use plant-based DHA, which that's the agent that actually tans your skin.
Yes.
You won't have that synthetic, nasty odor that you're probably used to when you go get your spray tan or all of those things. So that is fragrance.
Yes. So I want to really encourage everybody, because I'm going to say to you, plenty of products. I look at them like clean, and then I see the word fragrant, and I go, gosh darn it. And
here's what I will say. There are some people, like I will say there are clean brands that do have the word fragrance, but then they'll come out and say, here it is. So if you are ever going to go down that route, then just make sure the brand is transparent about it. I always say, why do brands hide their ingredients? No. That is a really scary indicator.
No, it shouldn't be.
No.
Because we're obviously, you're here listening, you're learning, like everything that we eat, put on our body affects our well-being.
I don't even like when brands say proprietary blend. I'm like, I want to know exactly what's in this. Like, to me, it just seems not transparent.
I know. I'm giving her a look. Like, we could go down that rabbit hole, and we're not going to right now at this moment. Like, I'm just going to go, oh gosh. Okay. So now another one, SLS.
Sodium lauryl sulfate.
Yes. So you're going to see this either as listed as SLS or, it absolutely spelled out for you. Now, this chemical here, it is also a carcinogen. We know that is affecting our body. Okay. It is an endocrine disruptor. Our hormones, our endocrine system, I want to say to everybody, imagine your car has a battery. There's lots of wires. There's lots of things in there. It is the engine that makes it. It's the battery makes it have, makes it go and do all these things. I always say your endocrine system, your hormones, that's like the battery in your body. Mm-hmm. So again, if you're disrupting it, right? Think about your car. If something's disrupted, it starts putting, pop, 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 right? Doing all these things. So again, I want you to start looking for that.
And this is something that is going to be more in your foaming agent. So think hand soaps, think shampoos and all of that stuff. So that's a quick one to just look at.
Yep.
The fifth one.
And then I will say we have a great little graphic for you too that kind of says, what are these in? To your point, if it's in a lotion to look for, if it's in a hand soap or so forth. And the next one, oh my gosh. Now this one here, pegs. All right. Let me just talk about pegs. And I don't know why. I mean, and maybe many of you are like me. It's petroleum oil. Like literally thinking, okay, wait, petroleum, like you mean we put in our car? You mean that? You mean all those things? And now I'm putting it in my body? And especially lipstick and things, lip gloss. There's so much petroleum. I mean, I can't begin to tell you. And to think we're eating that off our lips all the time. That one was so huge for me when I had to go down the rabbit hole and how it's processed and how it's put into products and what's happening, that I was like, okay, girl, you have to stop eating this. You have to stop doing this because again, it's an endocrine disruptor. So we're here today to talk about, right, environmental toxins and the overload. Mm-hmm. And then it's connected to 85% of breast cancer. So when you can start being aware of these things, and start crowding them out. Because I want to go back to one thing that you said, Paige. A lot of people say, oh, I don't care about those things. And I'm going to share with you, speaking to breast cancer survivors, the number one thing they say is, how can I prevent this from coming back? And again, there's no guarantees, but they're willing to whatever. Mm-hmm. How can I protect my family? And I'm going to tell you, they themselves, or let's say a son, daughter, anyone beside them are never saying, oh, who cares about those toxins? I know you just got over cancer. Go ahead and fill your body again. They don't. It really isn't a joke in my eyes. Again, no guarantee, but be aware. Mm-hmm. Because there's so many great products out there today. And Paige, again, as I always say, thank you for bringing a product out that you can put on your body, that gives you energy, that gives you confidence, that has you glowing, that you don't have to worry about any type of endocrine disruptors and feel good about it.
I want to share something on that note, Tracey, because we have, so of course we're focused on Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we have a little campaign going on right now called Pure Promise. And it felt necessary to bring this up right now because we actually have been getting inundated on Instagram from people that actually follow us that are breast cancer survivors, breast cancer warriors, or they know someone who has been affected by breast cancer. And they are actually writing in saying, I used to not care about this.
I know.
And now I have to, and I didn't know that there was an option. And so, and it, oh my gosh, it got us all emotional. And when I tell people about it, I'm like, I can't even go too far deep because it hurts my soul so much that people are, one, having to go through that. But two, one of the messages that we caught was this woman, she just lost all her hair. And she said, I completely lost, oh my gosh, I'm going to cry, all of my confidence. And when I had a friend tell me about your product, she's like, I literally felt confident again. And I looked in the mirror.
I know. It is.
Dang it, we're crying. And I looked in the mirror and I felt beautiful again. And I think we forget because we're not the ones being impacted, right? Like we've, of course, had our own hormonal challenges and we've overcome that. But I think so many people think, oh, that wouldn't happen to me. And I used to be there too. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, no, I don't need to worry about that. It was, again, my sister who really brought me into this toxin world when she was diagnosed with her autoimmune disease. And we always think, oh, that sucks. Like, I would hate for that to be me, but like, you don't think that's going to be you. And then boom, what happens?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I started having those hormonal challenges. And so I wanted to share that because our Pure Promise campaign is all about keeping promises to yourself and figuring out a way to help educate and empower people to eliminate toxins. And so I always say my Pure Promise is to continue to build and create products that are toxin free, that give people more energy and confidence. And so our Scooch today is going to have you come up with your Pure Promise. So Tracey, tell us your Pure Promise.
And my Pure Promise is to put information out there, to have education, right? More than awareness so that you can take action. I want them to be able to do it in bite-sized pieces so that it's not overwhelming for others.
I love that. So please share with us what your Pure Promise is.
So here is to keeping promises to yourself. One Scooch at a time, one upgrade at a time. And until next time, here's to your energetic, confident self.